I just look at him and I just laugh at him and say, in my heyday, I would have bust your ass. That's all I can say. In my heyday, you would have never got to the rim and was dunking the ball like that. You good now. You good. You nice. They compared you to Michael Jordan. A couple of times, and you should take that and be humble with it. But other than that, calm down, young fella.
I love that take, man. That's great. All right, let's go to another one that I was critical of 90s basketball players a couple of months ago, and that was Gilbert Arenas, who said they were all on steroids. So what are your thoughts on all that?
He said we was all on steroids. No, we was tested for that. So you couldn't have been on steroids. So like Gilbert, another good player, played very well in his, when he played in the NBA, he was unstoppable. Get to wherever he wanted to get to and make plays and make buckets and everything. But I just say, man, these guys, they in our heyday, we would have gave it to them. I mean, literally would have gave it to them, and they wouldn't be talking like that. But they never played against us. They was in the 2000s, but that's what it is. I just laugh at them and shake my head and on steroids. I don't even know where that came from.
Well, why don't we tell Gilbert to keep his guns to himself?
And when I saw that, man, I'm like, you all got to be some of the stupidest people in the world to bring guns in the locker room. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is game day. Y'all bringing guns in a locker room or shoot around, whatever it was. But you bringing guns into the locker room. I mean, why? Is it that serious that you have to bring guns in? If it's that serious, man, y'all need to just go somewhere else and fight and do something else. But you bringing a dangerous situation among your peers. And if a gun went off and shot somebody, then you'd be like, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You gotta be careful what you do, man. And we was like, what enticed you all to bring guns into a locker room?
Well, we could ask Plaxico Boris on that one too. I'm just throwing out curveballs, man. It is pretty funny. It is true. I mean, why would he bring a gun to a club? What would be the common sense with that? And I believe it or not, I saw Plaxico Boris at an event recently, a golf event, and I wanted to sit down and talk. He was speaking to all the different women, the analysts that wanted to speak with him, but he wouldn't want to speak with me because he knows that I'm going to go with what I believe to be true. And I'm going to ask him a question that he might not like. So he didn't even want to sit down and have a conversation with me because he knew where I was going with it. And then his agent, I'm just speaking the truth. His agent or publicist told me, well, if he does answer any questions, he doesn't want to answer certain particular questions. So then why am I asking you questions then?
Right.
There would be no reason why I'm interviewing.
That's true. And I work with him. I work with him on the Carden show. Now it's called the Basketball Ball or something ball on Fox Sports 1. And so I never asked him that question because, I know it's a touchy situation.
Of course.
I just leave that alone. But I know he still, feels the effects of that. And, when you walking down the street, they'd be like, hey, that's the guy that he was on the Jets or the Giants. He had the gun in his thing and went off in the club and all that type of stuff. He not going to never live that down. So, I don't even ask him that because it's none of my business.
Well, it's none of anybody.
And you know what? He knew he made a mistake. Yeah. And it was a harsh verdict that came down on him, because if he was a regular civilian, it wouldn't have came down like that on him. So, but yeah, they just wanted to prove a point and throw the book at him a little bit. And but he took it like a man, and he's still standing on his 2 feet, and he's still doing what he can, he's supposed to do for his family. So kudos to him.
We are talking to Hall of Fame point guard Tim Hardaway. Draymond Green has very interesting takes about the NBA and his thoughts of the future of the NBA and where the NBA is heading. One of the takes that I disagree with him, and Speedy, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about?
There's so many takes you disagree with him. I don't know which specific one you're going for.
The last one we were speaking about. Do you remember?
Oh, the podcasting one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if he knows that. So why don't you give it to him?
So he was saying that young NBA players, unless you're 3 years established in the league, shouldn't do a podcast.
He said young players established 3 years in the league should do a podcast.
Shouldn't do a podcast.
So, if you're a rookie or something that hasn't proven anything, you shouldn't be. You
shouldn't be speaking on a podcast. You have no right to speak up. You have to be in the NBA for a certain amount of time to get that opportunity to speak your thoughts of what's really going on in the NBA or in the world when it comes to sports.
So he's talking about Anthony Edwards.
He's talking about everybody.
Yeah, but he's really talking about Anthony Edwards from what he said. That's what brings to mind to me. But I think it's wrong for these guys to have podcasts and you're on the team right now. I think you should. I think you shouldn't be able to talk about other teams, other players, other coaches, what's going on with Adam Silver and the state of the league. I just think that that's just my take, because some of the things that you say, you get ridiculed for, and you're not going to say, you're just going to say stupid stuff. And I just think that nobody that's playing professional sports should have their own podcast until they off the team or retire.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So Steph Curry had some interesting last couple of weeks with the Team USA winning the gold medal. There was rumors, they're going to go team up with Durant or LeBron again. Then people are making a big deal out of Steph Curry taking the Warriors bio off his Instagram. So what are your thoughts to all that saga?
That's not going to happen. The league is not going to let that happen. You got to move parts around. So say if Steph, LeBron, and KD on the same team, it's just going to be just like the Phoenix Suns. There's not going to be no other salary. Enjoy watching them in USA. Glad they came back with a goal. A lot of people has been talking about Tatum not playing. And I think he did a good job. And you know what? The only thing it is gold. It ain't nothing else. It's nothing else but gold. And when you win gold, everything should be just thrown out the window. It shouldn't be no criticism. It shouldn't be no talk about this. It shouldn't be no talk about Steve Kerr doing that. It should be about they won the gold. They brought back the gold, and yes, we're going to have some tough times with other teams. Other teams have NBA players on other countries have NBA players on their team. They got to come together just like the USA has to come together. And being in that last game against France in Paris, on their home court, it was tough. And they toughed it out and they won the game. So, and LeBron, man, I'm going to tell you this, man, at 40, 41, 21, going into his 22nd year, kudos to him. Phenomenal. This guy is man. He's unbelievable, man. And every time he goes out there, he makes you just have your mouth open like, wow, he's 40, 41 and doing it still like he's 30, 35 years old. So kudos to him and and all the guys on USA. And, hey, we want to go. Let all this negativity go out the window. We ridicule people and we won. I can see if we lost, but we won. Leave it alone.
You know why? everybody is attacking it because you have analysts come out and try to compare this Olympic team to the Dream Team, which there's no comparison to both teams. It's ridiculous. It was a ridiculous statement. And I'm not even going to mention names because there was quite a few people that came out and said it, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous when you look at those teams. When you look at Magic Johnson, oh, he was at the tail end. Larry Bird. Those guys would have kicked the you-know-what out of this team. Kicked the you-know-what out of this team.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So I don't even know why people always compare. And then they talking about the 96 team would have beat the 92 team. Stop that. Mm-hmm. So what? Y'all can compare it. All right, so what? And what? But y'all not going to be able to play. But in the Dream Team, they went out there and they won by 40, average of 33 points a game. They did what they supposed to do.
Sometimes 50. I mean,
right, 50. They did what they supposed to do, and that's why they the Dream Team. And just leave it alone. But everybody want to compare this. Everybody want to compare that. Even Charles Barkley said this. He said his 96 team would have beat the Dream Team. But which team was you going to play on, Charles? Which team was you going to play on? Was you going to play with the 92 team or was you going to play with the 96 team? That didn't even make no sense.
Well, Charles Barkley never makes sense. That's the whole point. That's why he's making the big bucks behind, on the seat with the microphone in his mouth. And sometimes I wonder if he should eat it. But that's
well, and I want to tell Charles Barkley, you thinking coaching is really not that hard. Go out there and coach these guys. Go out there and put a game plan together. Go out there and put a practice plan together. Go out there and look at film, half the night. Go out there and study other players and see what type of game plan you got to put against this team and that team. Then you got to listen to your coaches and your assistant coaches and got to see which way you want to go. If you want to go with them or you want to go with what you're thinking. It's a lot of things. So when Charles Barkley is saying he's upset with Steve Kerr or he didn't approve of Steve Kerr doing this and doing that, I tell him this. He wants you go out there and coach, not a high school team, not a college team, coach an NBA team. I guarantee you, he'll be so frustrated. He'll be like, no. I'm good.
Well, I have my thoughts of, I agree with him when it comes to the Steve Kerr thing. I would have played Jason Tatum. That's just my opinion. I thought he was wrong, but hey, you know what? If that's the way he wants to go, just remember, he stepped down now. He doesn't have to worry about it. Now you have Spoelstra, you have one of these other guys taking over for Team USA. Now you're going to have to ease these guys in and try to tell them, well, you're the future of Team USA. And now when you know this, Timmy, if you look at the top 5 players in the NBA right now, they're practically international. You have Nikola Jokic, you have Luka Doncic, you have Shai Alexander. Okay, those are just 3 guys. You have the Greek Freak. I mean, those are 4 guys, 4 of the top 5 guys right now I just named that arguably are the 4 best players in the league. And Joel Embiid, if you want to put him there, he's a foreign player. He shouldn't have even been on Team USA. That's
correct.
My opinion.
Correct. But I tell you this, we don't have to worry about Greece. We wouldn't have to worry about Slovenia, Luka Doncic's team because they only rely on Luka and nobody else can play on that team. And then who else you say?
Shai Alexander.
Shai Alexander. They you know what? From top to bottom, they was probably 1B, 1A minus from the USA team. And they couldn't put it together. So, they got to understand how to mesh all that together and come out and play as a team. I think they was very, very disappointed as pros and you can't put it together. I mean, you haven't learned nothing. So I wouldn't even worry about Canada until they understand how to play together.
One of our executive producer Fish was saying RJ Barrett clogging up space internationally too with the Canadians.
You know what, y'all Knicks fans, y'all tough. Y'all tough.
No, I liked RJ Barrett.
I liked RJ Barrett too, but that trade, Knicks fans were going crazy. They're like, who the hell's OG? Nobody get a chance to see OG. Now you see what OG does. He's one of the best when it comes to defending the guard position, or really just the the hook that the Knicks have had problems with all these years is defending those positions, the 2, the 1, even the 3. You got a guy that is probably, if not the best, a top 3 player in the league at that position.
You know why they did it? Because they understood that R.J. Barrett's ceiling is short. It's not high. It's not going up. His ceiling is right where it's going to be at, and he's not going to take it to that next level, what they thought he could. And OG is, OG is a guy that's going to take his level of playing the game of basketball and it's keep rising. So yeah, that's why they did it. They didn't want to do it, but they saw the fortitude in OG, and they saw what RJ Barrett. It wasn't going to be that type. And you know what? I'll tell you this: some people can't play at Madison Square Garden either. Some people can't play at in that place for the New York Knicks because the fans will tear you down, the media tear you down. You walking down the street, they looking at you sideways, they whispering your ear and stuff like that. Some people are not made for Madison Square Garden in New York.
So speaking of somebody that used to play for New York, your son with the Dallas Mavericks, they made it to the NBA Finals this year. Very impressive run as a 5 seed. So what are your thoughts to their season as a whole, to the success that they had this season?
He's going to probably be hard on his son. I know he's going to be hard on his son.
No, I mean, my son, a lot of people don't understand that. My son kept them out of the playing game. They when Luka was hurt, or Kyrie went out for like 10 days, they relied on my son and his usage. And they was running offense for him. And he came in and he was averaging 20, 22 points a game. And then when everybody got whole and when they made that trade, his minutes started coming down. They wasn't running offense for him. His usage was coming down. He was just standing in the corner, just waiting on the ball. When you stand in the corner and wait on the ball, you're not in rhythm. People just think that you're gonna stand there and then when you get an open shot, you're gonna make an open shot. It's not gonna happen, people. It's not gonna happen. And people think that they are basketball players. They're not basketball players. They never played in that realm. They never been in the NBA. They never been on a college court where you move the ball around, you get people involved, you get a rhythm, you shooting. And even if you don't shoot for 10 minutes, but you in rhythm. So when you get the ball and you got a wide open shot, you will shoot it. So, but a lot of people don't understand, and it was unfortunate for him, not to get in during the course of the playoffs, and they just sat him on the bench and really didn't play him. But I feel that it was their loss because he still was the best third scorer on that team, and if they had him in the lineup, he would have. I'm not gonna say they would have beat the Boston Celtics, but it wouldn't have been 4-1. He would have gave them a chance to be in the series. But Boston Celtics was on a mission. You could tell they was on a mission from day one. And but yeah, it was just unfortunate, and it's we with the Pistons now. He's with the Pistons now, and that's behind us. We're not looking behind us. We're looking forward, and we're looking for brighter days now. And that's what it's about. So it is what it is, and you just take it. Life goes on. You get up every day. Don't even worry about it, and have fun with your next destinations, which is the Detroit Pistons, and try to get them into the playoffs. Try to get them young guys to learn how to play and learn how to win.
This is what you got to do. You got to get up, you got to stand up, and then you got Charles Barkley right over here and throw some jabs. Paul, just throw some jabs, throw some uppercuts, because Charles Barkley is the one that was, he's. To me, I love his personality. I love what he does when it comes to drawing people to him. He just loves to throw people under the bus. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's something about the Knicks or it's something about a player that he doesn't think is worth the time to speaking about, he will throw them under the bus and completely ridicule them. That's what he does. He always does it. And that's something I saw Charles Barkley in the Hamptons this summer. And I didn't really say much to him. I know he was running. He was trying to get some wine. He wanted to get effed up. So I saw him, go get me some liquor, baby. That's all I remember, with Charles Barkley. But I will say this about Charles. There are a lot of people over the years that obviously think that Charles Barkley should not be speaking on different players that are in the league because he's not in the league anymore. And I think you're one guy that would probably see that in a different way because he's not in the NBA anymore. It's a different kind of game. And he still has his thoughts that could be thrown a different way or thrown a bone a different way that would piss people off. When you look at guys like Charles Barkley or even guys like John Starks or any of these guys that speak about the NBA and the way the NBA has transitioned and how he thinks that it's comparable from the 90s, do you agree with guys like Charles Barkley or guys like John Starks? Because John Starks said something recently about the NBA, and he said that these NBA players are more athletic and more giftedly sound, that the NBA players in those days, in the 90s, it would take a little bit more time to really catch up to the guys that are playing in the league. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe that. I disagree with them. Charles Barkley, he was just as athletic as Zion Williams. John Starks, he was just athletic. I mean, for you to get a dunk like that with your left hand and you're not even left-handed, that's athleticism. That's athleticism. Don't tell me it was just, it was the spur of the moment. It was in the playoffs. I was hyped up and this. He had athleticism. Charles, John Starks, he came from Golden State, almost out the league, and then he came into New York, hardworking, playing good defense, making shots, making plays. If you look at everybody's game, everybody, can't pass. Everybody can't shoot. Everybody can't dribble. Everybody. But you bring a unique style to the game. John Starks brought a unique style. He played great defense. He tried to play hard and great defense, and he shot. When he had an open shot, unless it was Game 7 against Houston Rockets, but all the rest of them, he was making them. So I mean, I disagree with them. I take the 90s basketball over today, but the only thing I would change is the rules. If we had the same rules that they play with now, everybody be scoring. Everybody be scoring.
Michael Jordan would get 60 points.
And a lot of people don't understand. It's the rules that makes this game today. Our rules was more rugged, more tougher. We had to have athleticism to get to the rim, to make plays in our day. These guys don't have to have athleticism to do what they need to do, because if you touch somebody, it's a foul. It's some calls I'd be like, did you just call that? Wow. And another thing, back then you couldn't travel like they doing today.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. James Harden is like the king of doing that, by the way.
James Harden, LeBron James. See, look at that dunk. That's not athleticism. Come on, man. Let me ask you this: Did Kenny Walker have athleticism?
Of course he did.
Okay, so what are they saying? I mean, come on, man. I don't understand. Hakeem Olajuwon had athleticism as a center.
Yeah.
Even Shaq had athleticism in the 90s as a center. So don't tell me about athleticism. We had athleticism. The thing is, we just couldn't shoot threes like they shooting threes now. If you took 10 threes, oh my God, what was you doing? Even though you was on, you took 10 threes. Next game, you better not take 10 threes. Your team be looking at you crazy.
So my last question, I just wanted to ask about the Warriors lost a legend recently, Al Attles.
Man.
And he was on when you were there. I think he was an assistant with him. So what was he like? Do you have a good story of his?
Man, one of the greatest men you could ever meet in your life. If you was lucky to meet Al Attles, it will prepare you for life. Al was genuine. He talked to you respectfully. You heard him because his deep voice, he talked deep, and you heard him, when he was coming down, hey, young fella, look at, you heard him. But I mean, just talking to him, the insight that he had about life, just not about basketball, just about life, man. And he touched so many hearts. I cried yesterday. I really did cry when I got the news. He was a good friend. He was a good friend, and always loved to hear his voice. Always loved to talk to him. It 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 was you just had to be around him to understand what I'm talking about. It like I said, he was genuine, A1 scholar. Like I said, treated people with respect, and you will never ever hear one person, not one person, say anything bad about Al Adams. Not one. You might, somebody might say something bad about somebody else. Somebody might say it, whisper it to you, say, oh, Al Adams, man, just a genuine person. And he'll be missed, man. He'll be missed.
Well, I'm going to let you know something. I've grown very attached to you, man. Not in a weird way, but I've got to know you a little bit more, not as a basketball player, but as a person. Very knowledgeable, not just in the game of basketball, but you understand what it takes to be a professional athlete. So when you interview people, and I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, I like to interview people and kind of get to know them through who they are and what they have achieved. And you have achieved so many different things in your career, and you have a son that plays in the NBA and has had a long career. I respect everything that you've done in the NBA and what you do for what the NBA and what the NBA stands for from the 90s and what it's transitioned in today. So every time we have you on the show, I really respect everything about you. I don't want you to think because you were a Miami Heat and I couldn't stand you as a player at that time as a Knicks fan that I don't respect you as a person. So
I appreciate that. But I keep telling folks, I was just out there doing my job, man. Yes. It wasn't nothing personal. When I'm out there on that court, only thing I know is my team has to win. I'm going to try to put them in position to win. It's just so happened we played y'all a bunch of times, and all that hatred came from Pat Riley. If Pat Riley would have stayed there or just called somebody and said, "Hey, I'm going to take this position over here," instead of just leaving at night, didn't call nobody up, facts, then I think everything would have been all right. But the hatred came from him, and we felt it. But you know what? Just like New York, just like New York area, got behind the Knicks and put them in that, like, hate Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. We had the same thing. Pat put in our mind, hey, this is Gotham, and you got to come play in Gotham City. So, I mean, we just did a job, but you know what? I wouldn't take that back for nothing. I loved it each and every time we played. I think that was the greatest rivalry in basketball. And I love coming to New York, playing in New York and shutting people up. And I know they love coming to Miami and shutting us up. So, I mean, it was great time, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I appreciate you all, and y'all keep doing great things.
Thank you. What a coinky dink that the team that drafted your son were the Knicks.
hey, check this out. Check this out. Look at that right there.
There you go.
We definitely got to get you back on it. We got to get your son on the show. It would be fun. Just have you and your son go back and forth. We'll talk. Speedy will reach out to you, but we love everything about what you're doing, man. And congratulations for all the things that you've accomplished, and congratulations on what you're doing for Fox. One day maybe we'll be partners. Maybe we'll be over there.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, y'all take care, man. Thank you.
Tim Hardaway, ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, great personality, great basketball, Samaritan. Oh, yeah. I mean, everything about him. He's fantastic. It was a great interview. Wes is probably not joining us.
No, Wes got too tired, but he did send some pics.
Tell him I want to apologize. Did you tell him?
I did.
He knew it was Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, it was also like the guests scrambled all like different times. But thank you both the guests for joining us. But yes, Wes did send some other pics in our private chat. He's got a SMU the first week 0 of college football, minus 24.5 against Nevada. That game is Saturday at 8:00. He's got your Florida State Seminoles and Georgia Tech. They're playing on Saturday at noon. They're under 55.5 for that game.
God, please.
And then he's got your favorite sport, Carl, the CFL. 2 picks as well for that. Winnipeg at home covering minus 9.5 against Hamilton tomorrow. And then on Saturday, the BC Lions on the road covering 1.5 at Ottawa.
The Beastly Lions. Okay, you got to say it. Beastly.
They are beastly.
Yeah, you got to get out of that closet, man. You got to get out of that closet.
It has nothing to do with me. It's just the team.
But it's a closet.
It's good for both of us.
It's good for all of us. It's good for everybody.
It's good for Wes's money because he's making money in the CFL.
Money works, money talks, and money sparks a lot of different decisions that you need to make tonight, right?
It has something to do with me. It has something to do with people betting on the CFL and taking Wes's advice.
What is up with you in that Fu Manchu, by the way?
Something to do with me.
I mean, but what about
there's no analyzing it.
I mean, I'm analyzing it because it's starting to scare me.
Then don't look at it. Look at Scoops over there. Look at Scoops.
How can I miss it? It's square right in my front.
All right, then look at Scoops. You love talking about his hair.
Hey, listen, I didn't love to talk about. There it is. There he is. You look like John Bon Jovi there. You know, not as pretty. Not as pretty. You know. Yeah.
I would not believe I am. So
I mean, look at me in the background grabbing my boobs, man. You like that? Those jugs?
Weird.
You like them? I like them. I like them.
I would imagine you like your own body. Yeah.
No, I didn't. But they have nice. I have nice jugs, right?
I don't know.
You've never seen my jugs?
I don't care.
All right, let's go to a sports minute. When we come back, we'll have Nathan on the show, and Deion Sanders is doing something crazy again, or whatever he claims he's not doing, or maybe he was doing, or maybe it's just something going to be brushed under the rug because the NCAA don't want to admit that this could be a problem in the future. When we come back, we'll get into that. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Yes, it's the top of the hour, and for the third time today, I'm Tommy Scoops, bringing you a Loudmouth Sports Minute. Now, starting with some MLB, the Yankees announced that they are going to be reinstating Jazz Chisholm. Chisholm, who was placed on injured list earlier this month, is set to be activated tomorrow. Lastly, over in the NFL, the Bears were heavily close to acquiring Matthew Judon. After Judon's Patriots exit a few weeks back, Bears wanted Judon on a new contract, but ultimately signing with the Falcons. Now it's time for Scoops and Squares, where in the MLB, the currently only game going on is the Mets having a 1-0 lead over the Padres at the top of the second inning. That is all I have right now for you guys, and I'm going to kick it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
It's good for both. Thickness. I am a disturbing person. Have you ever seen it flop? Do you bend the meat?
I love bending the meat. 631-672.
Yo.
3108 is the number to call.
What's up, guys?
Hold on, Nathan. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Petey, every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listing for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I just like being the pain in the ass that I always am, Speedy. You know all about me. I'm like a flea, right? Do I like to bite?
I would hope not.
I mean,
metaphorically, you do.
I do like to bite. Where does it hurt the most?
That's up to whoever you're criticizing.
I'm asking you, where does it hurt?
I don't know. It's up to whoever you're criticizing.
Where do I bite that hurts you?
I don't know. It's metaphorical.
When a flea bites you or, a mosquito bites you, where does it hurt the most?
I don't know. Probably in my arms.
Why your arms?
Because it's weaker than my legs. That has less hair.
How do you know they're weaker than your legs?
Most people's are.
Well, hold on one second. So you are
legs are generally bigger.
Your legs are like your arms.
Makes no sense.
They're as thin as like
No,
like
my legs are pretty tall. My arms are not. So it's the
What
opposite.
else is tall?
It's the opposite.
What
of
else is tall?
What you were describing.
What else is tall?
Nothing else really.
Nothing else is tall. Long.
Not really.
Nothing.
No.
So it's all small. Everything's small.
Or average. Yeah.
So average. All right, Nathan, what is up, my friend? Nathan, you're on mute. What's going on? You got to unmute him. There it goes. Nathan, what's up, man?
What's up, Arrow? What's up, Speedy? Great show today. Tim Hardaway, man, the GOAT. You just had the GOAT on the show, man. What a great career. Shout out to you guys. And then obviously, was Gerald Worthy on today? Yeah, Worthy was on today, right?
He was fantastic.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Really so you guys are killing it right now. So like I said, thank you again for having me on the show.
Oh, dude, come on.
You guys are the best. Al Marks is a pain in the ass. No, I'm just joking. But
You don't have to say you're joking. I know I'm a pain in the ass.
No. Shout out to you guys. I'm telling you right now, you guys have the best show right now.
Is that a compliment? Are you trying to compliment us?
No. I'm serious. This is out of any show. I mean, out of any show that I'm part of and I'm connected with, you guys are the best. And then to be able to share the platform with you guys and write articles for you guys is truly amazing. So,
well, we really appreciate you and everything that you do. And I saw that you were working with Victor Cruz today.
Yeah, we did a big event with Victor Cruz at the Headliner in Neptune, and Prince Amukamara was there too.
Oh, how wonderful! Prince wasn't anything for the Giants, but when he went to Chicago, he was okay. I mean, he played okay when he was in Chicago. Not the same player that we thought he was going to be as a high, draft.
It was bad. It was the last two were really bad.
I also interviewed them, so stay tuned for an interview. They're editing the videos for me. So
did he do his shimmy? Did he do his his?
No,
nice...
I actually. You know what's funny? I asked Victor to do the salsa, but Prince did the salsa for me.
Interesting.
But Victor
did you jump on his back when he did it?
No, what the hell?
That would have been cool if you jumped on his back. I mean, Nathan, you're a small guy. You jump on his back and say, God, give me the salsa, baby.
So the Modelo beer?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they sponsored the event today. So big shout out to Modelo for sponsoring the event. And what's it called? Yeah, so Prince did the salsa, and then Victor did the salsa, and before the thing started with some other person. But yeah, it was a good turnout, decent amount. And then they did raffles for the fans and everything. So
I would love to see Speedy do the salsa in like a Speedo. What do you guys think? That would be fun. What do you think, Speedy?
Embarrassing.
Could you do the salsa?
I don't know.
Would you try?
I would try, but not in a freaking Speedo.
Disturbing behavior.
Oh man, let's bring Fish in. Okay, and we'll bring all of these guys in just. But I want to get into this story because this is the last story I wanted to leave because this is the story that I just want to.
What's up, Fish?
Burn a hole.
What's up, man?
In this story, by the way, because it is definitely one of those interesting ones. Former Colorado special teams coach Trevor Riley told Sports Illustrated that Deion Sanders discussed an NIL funding with Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Riley also said he went to Saudi Arabia himself and had a face-to-face meeting with several businessmen. Riley claims that he nor Deion did nothing illegal and was only trying to help Colorado. The Public Investment Fund also has connections with Premier League, Formula One racing, and Live Golf. Saudi Arabian businesses have been accused of being involved in sports in order to redirect attention away from their various scandals. Colorado had the most NIL money ever for the first-year coach in Deion Sanders, his first season.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting story. And by the way, I don't know if anybody knows who Kenny Blakeney is. Howard's basketball coach, Kenny Blakeney, told Washington Post of his pitch to private equity firms, asking for $100 million in return for 33% of the stake of the program. So just so you know what NIL deals are going to could bring in the future if this is not controlled. Now, I was one over the last couple of years to speak before this even went through that these players should be getting paid. I've been saying it. I've been behind it, that players are not in college sports long enough and they're not finishing up with their college educations, and that if you leave college to go into professional sports, that you cannot finish your scholarship. You have to finish your scholarship, or unless the school agrees with you, that like Sauce Gardner with Cincinnati, where you can leave college, go to the NFL, and you can finish your education on the side. Most schools will not allow that. And that's because of obviously the money and the investment that you have in these players through the scholarships that you get through the colleges. Now, here's the problem with Deion Sanders. And there's a lot to get into with Deion Sanders, because Deion Sanders has been really speaking a lot over the last couple of years. How great of a coach he is, his ego of taking Colorado to a national championship, and how he is going to show people that going and coaching not only from a D1 or a Division I school that nobody's ever heard of in Jackson State, to go to Colorado and go 3-0 the way he did and just completely choke in, throughout the season because the team wasn't that good, or maybe the players didn't believe in you or trust you as a head coach. But the thing that really tosses me about Deion Sanders is the things that he has done off the field. One of the things that really disturbs me is the way he handled his son's situation. The beating up of the security guard. And then you're a multimillionaire. You're making millions and millions of dollars. And knowing that this security guard might never be able to work again, might not be able to feed his family, might not be able to take care of himself for the rest of his life, you told your son, or at least we don't know for sure, but he probably was behind it, told your son to claim bankruptcy so he gets nothing. He can't get anything, and that if you become an NFL player, he can't take any of your salary away from you and your earnings away from you because you claim bankruptcy. That is a despicable thing Deion Sanders did. And he could say whatever he wants. And everybody keeps saying that I'm being racist because of it. It has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with it. It's wrong. If you're white, black, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Chinese, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter what color you are. It's wrong. Now, as far as this situation with the NIL deal, the fact that this story is coming out, it is going to grow legs. If you really believe that Deion Sanders knew nothing about this, or they weren't creating anything illegal behind this, you guys are out of your minds. First of all, Saudi Arabia is one of the richest places in the world because there's so much oil there. So much oil there. So much money to be made over there. So to think, why do you think these boxers are fighting in Saudi Arabia? Why do you think they're doing that? Because there's money being brushed under the rug to them. It is not being said. And boxing is one of the most crooked sports in all of the industry. I will tell you it is. I know boxing. It's crooked. So if you think for 1 second that Deion Sanders hiring this guy, and I'm just being honest here, bringing this guy in, and that's Colorado's, I forget his name, I'm sorry, Tim Riley, I think his name, I'm sorry, Trevor Riley. Bringing him in, a special teams coach, and having him go over there, and he knew nothing about it or knew anything behind the scam behind it. It's a lie. It's a lie. Deion Sanders knew exactly what it is. He's trying to bring in money. He's trying to pay these players under the table to bring these players in through the portal and get them to come and play in Colorado so he can win a national championship and be declared the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is wrong. It is wrong. And I'm going to tell you this right now. This is something that the NCAA needs to look at and stop with this craziness on, it's just Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is a great Samaritan. He's the face of what we want college football to be. You want college football to be this? You want that these coaches, and this has been going on forever. It's not just Deion Sanders, guys. Deion Sanders is not the only coach that's done this. I mean, he's the only one that probably went to Saudi Arabia to try to draw money from one of these rich businessmen, because $100 million is nothing to these guys. They have billions and billions of dollars. So it doesn't even matter. And you're not going to go to one of these guys like Donald Trump or any of these business owners over here, because obviously it could be claimed in taxes. So they need to be brushed under the rug. It needs to be clean money. That's what it is. It needs to be cleaned. So how do you clean money? You go to another country and you get it from a businessman, and you know, it's he washes his hands from it. It is horrible. And if you're going to do that, you might as well have gotten money for your son to pay off this security guard. Yeah. So it could have been rest, and you don't look like a complete moron.
Yep. And we were talking about all these NIL deals that are just like NIL deals. This is not just another NIL deal. This is a potentially illegal operation.
It's a huge illegal operation. It's going to come out.
Because you're seeing this particular fund connected with all these other teams that I'm not sure about the international corruption, how it works with. I know you're mentioning boxing, the Premier League. I think it was two different teams in the Premier League, Newcastle and Everton, which are both like not great teams, but like teams that aren't usually relegated in the Premier League. And then you got Live Golf, which has created a great divide among the golf community, which that's something that like they're getting a lot of wealth involved in that kind of thing too. This is not just another NIL scandal. This is a potentially illegal operation that this coach in Riley literally went down to Saudi Arabia to negotiate these kinds of things with. There's not a coincidence that Deion Sanders had 66 something new recruits all at once. Then you have all of a sudden 60 of them transferring this year. Don't want to get involved in this kind of thing. That makes a lot of sense for him to be that.
FIFA. Do you guys know what FIFA is? Anybody know that scandal over there that's happened and how it's just now it's breaking through? They did a whole like documentary of it. That was going on forever. And now it's starting to just grow and grow and grow. And people are getting thrown under the bus, everything. If you guys don't think that this is going to happen the same way with what the NIL and what the NCAA is not discovering from this, it only tells me one thing. Why do you think somebody like, I don't know, one of the greatest coaches in college football history decided to step down? Do you believe that Nick Saban knew nothing about this or had no recollection to understand that this was going to happen? They all do. That's why they're all speaking about it. That's why they all have something to say about it. Unfortunately, when there are rules that are not to be broken, or they don't need to be broken anymore because they're allowed, you're going to find ways where you have the edge in any sport. Same thing with baseball. Everybody thinks steroid was the edge in the 90s, and that's what brought baseball back from the strike. Maybe so. But again, you needed it. And there are reasons why it was brought to the forum. When you look at the NIL deal and you look at the situation the NCAA is in now, because there's so much money, man. And the NCAA was, taking money. These kids were bringing in billions and billions of dollars with TV deals. And now with the new TV deals that the NBA is bringing in and all these, what do you think these Saudi Arabian guys are looking at? They see dollar signs. I throw 100 million, I get $1 billion. That's the way they look at it. And how are we going to know about it? Because it's washed. It's washed money. And the FIFA, we've been doing that forever. I mean, Ronaldo, how many contracts have he had?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Messi, he comes over here to the United States for 1 year. He makes $80 million to play for Miami. I mean, do you think that's a coinky dink? No, he came here for the money. He came here not for the superstardom. The guy's the biggest soccer player in the world. And it's all about money. And it's only going to grow because Deion Sanders thinking that it's not. And Deion Sanders saying that he knows nothing about it. He knows this is what makes the world go around. And that's what it was. And everybody says, and he says he'll never go to the NFL. Well, Jim Harbaugh, everybody thought was never going to go back to the NFL. Where is he right now? He's coaching for the Chargers. There was a reason why he left the NCAA. Same thing with Pete Carroll after winning 2 national championships. He is obviously going to have to step down or move away. Because if this thing is true, and the NCAA looks into it, because, hey, you know what? Baseball did it with Ohtani, threw it under and brushed it under the rug. And this is Deion Sanders. He's the mastermind of the NCAA. Now he's the face of the NCAA. The NCAA will probably brush it on the rug. But if they really investigate this, this is a scandal. 100%.
And you mentioned the international proportions too. Like the Arabian Soccer League 3 years ago was the one that gave Mbappe that almost $1 billion contract too. So there's a lot of money coming in from other places too. And that's what makes this scandal just bigger than an NIL deal. And very similar to what you were saying with the Ohtani scandal, which I think is bigger than just what happened in baseball. I think it could be happening with governments. It could be happening with spy stuff, like anything like that could be involved in that kind of thing too. And you mentioned the Michigan scandal as well. There was military technology, Navy technology involved in that scandal. These are two big scandals that are more than just an NIL deal with the NCAA. So if they're going to hammer those smaller scandals and they're going to have to pay $1 billion for it now, they're better hammer these two.
There was a documentary, guys, that I thought was the best one I ever saw. It was a 30 for 30 called The Two Escobars. And it was about Pablo Escobar. Yep. And if you remember, it was how they laundered drug money through the soccer leagues in Mexico and in Central America. And what ended up happening is these teams and their players were being held. There was all these like ransoms, families being kidnapped, violence, murders. It was the worst thing you can think of. And if you know anything about, and I'm a history teacher and I've taught some of this stuff, MBS, the leader, the Crown Prince over there, he is tied to the murder of a Washington Post journalist. Yep. And money, billions of dollars were funneled into the United States shortly thereafter, which is one of my most interesting conspiracy theories that I have not seen solved yet from the last 10 years. A lot of people believe that he was directly involved with the murder of that, and the United States government gave him up. And that's really sad. And this is the guy that you're getting in bed with. Look, you said boxing, WWE has been there as well. They have their crown jewel event that happens more frequently than once a year, I believe. And they're making that money, and that's not drug money, but it might be a different type of money over there. And it's not a savory type of money. Let's put it that way. So this is kind of Pandora's box. If you're going to allow this as the NCAA, you're allowing that element to creep into college sports. And that cannot happen. That would be an absolute travesty.
Nathan, you could unmute yourself. What are your thoughts to the story?
I mean, I haven't paid attention to all of it, but I have to dig deep more, I have to read more of it. But I don't know. I just once I read more, then I have something to say.
Well, that's fine, and it's an interesting story because obviously it's just a story that really came out 24 hours ago, and now obviously Colorado's going to be in defense mode because the college football season's right around the corner. Deion Sanders, is pretty much picked his team and his roster, and he's got a lot because Shedeur Sanders right now is going into his final year as a college quarterback, and everybody wants to believe that this guy is a first-round draft pick, which I believe he's not. But hey, obviously his father does, and again, he's got more pressure on him this year because now you're going into your second season. All you do, and by the way, that family at the press conferences over there at Colorado made themselves look like a bunch of idiots. They really look bad because when they were up there and the press was asking them questions, they would not answer any of the questions that were important to the conversation. They would only answer the questions by the way they wanted to answer them. And that, to me, is poor sportsmanship. If you're going to come, if you're Shedeur Sanders, and I'm just speaking the truth, if you're Shedeur and you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, and you might have to play here in New York next year. I mean, the Giants could draft you. It could happen. Not the Jets, because they had a Jordan Travis. I don't think they have any thoughts to it. But he could have an opportunity to come here to New York. Why would the Giants even think to bring Shedeur Sanders in here? And after half the press conferences he's had over the last, 2 months, and even the press conference he had recently, it made him look really, really bad. He doesn't know how to answer questions. And when he answers questions, it becomes defensive. You're here in New York, and you answer a defensive question like Julius Randle did 2 years ago when he didn't get the ball at the end of the game and they wanted to interview him at the end of the game. He would not interview. He would not talk to the press. It made him look really, really bad. It made him look sour. It made him look like a sore loser and not realizing that, hey, listen, this isn't your team. Get it through your head. It's not your team. It made him look really bad, really bad. And it took what? RJ Barrett getting traded and OG coming in and showing that he is a team player and then getting hurt, that everybody kind of washed their hands from what he did 2 years ago, because that's the first thing and that's the last thing I remember of Julius Randle when it comes to my shaky thoughts of him. I'm going back to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders doesn't know how to control his mouth. Deion Sanders doesn't know how to control his kids. And now you have players from your team throwing not only you as a coach under the bus, but your sons under the bus on the type of people they are in the locker room and the presence you leave to the team after they lose as a sore loser. So to me, you want to teach men. You don't teach men the way you teach men. You teach men how to lose and how to win and how to handle adversity. And I don't think he knows how to do that. Thank you, Joel Worthy, for joining us. He was fantastic.
Yeah, Joel Worthy.
Thank you to Tim Hardaway.
The GOAT.
Giving us the time as always. Thank you to Nith for joining us. Thank you for Keith for calling us. Thank you for all the fans,
Keith, get out of here. No, I'm just joking.
Thank you to Speedy for making me feel that I'm not the only one ready to burst in my pants, right?
99% of the world would too.
And thank you to Fish for, being the executive producer that he is and all the good graphics and everything, all the content he puts out there. Thank you to Scoops, Sports Minute, and all the content and everything that we do. And Speedy, thank you to you. I always give you the compliments. I mean, you're not a Greg Giannotti. Thank God you're not Greg Giannotti, but you are the great Speedo. Do you hear that? They're looking for somebody.
It's a prison alarm.
Who do you think they're looking for?
You.
Someone broke out of jail.
Somebody. Maybe it's me.
Yeah, you broke out of the closet. I told you to stay in.
Prison break.
I don't want to break out of that prison. Oh, man. Anyway.
Really, Keith?
Nathan, you got to respond to Keith. Keith's putting you on blast, man.
What's he saying over here?
Nathan should have orders of protection against him by every woman and farm animals. Every farm.
No, it has to include every animal because he's in Planet of the Apes now. Good luck trying to put a leash around an ape.
Lord Caesar!
Look, I'm dead. I can't come back to life.
I love this. How do you not love this?
Men in Black Memory Eraser.
Would you do it if I attached the Men in Black Memory Eraser to a leash, Nathan?
Would you grab anything that's tied to that leash?
Oh my God!
Would you?
No.
You wouldn't grab anything?
I'm not trusting anything on Nathan's leash.
Oh man! All right, that's it for our show.
That's, by the way, when we do our fantasy football draft, my team's name is Nathan's Leash. That is official. No one else can take it.
Oh my God!
Oh man, I gotta think of a name now. That has to be cool.
Men in Black Memory Eraser. Yeah, that's your name.
Or I'm gonna change it to Bobby Salah's team. You guys think of that? Yeah? Bobby Salah.
You're not gonna win a game.
Like Fish said, I'm not gonna win a game.
Yeah, Nathan only the Men in Black Memory Eraser for his fantasy football team when he drafts EJ Perry first overall.
I want to get that Bambi picture of Robert Saleh on Bambi's body, and I want to make a hat and sell it.
Bambi Salah.
Bambi Salah.
We did a event with Victor Cruz and Prince today at the Headliner nightclub.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you hang out with Bambi?
Huh?
Did you hang out with Bambi?
Yeah.
Oh. What does she look like?
Bambi was there. She was there. Rudolph the reindeer was there. Everybody was there.
Or any of them on a leash.
I'm going to snort and kill myself. Anyways.
Interviews coming out soon with Victor and Prince, so stay tuned.
Just make sure that you're not Caesar, okay? Prince Caesar, okay? All right? Stay away from the scissor. The Sizzler. The Sizzlers are gone. Anyways. Speedy, you like Sizzler?
I don't know what that is.
Of course you don't. You like to sizzle on things?
Sizzling is not a human operation.
Well, it is.
You have the same operations as a skillet or an oven or a stove?
Absolutely, especially when something is sizzling on it. You like sausages?
It has nothing to do with anything.
Does it sizzle?
It doesn't matter.
I'm asking you, does your sausage...
Not on a body.
Anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back on Tuesday. Listen to the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 FM at 7 o'clock on Saturday with me and Speedy with our craziness. Thank you to Neff. Again, we'll be back next week. Good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.